With another NBA season approaching closer and closer by the day, the anticipation for basketball to return has reached an all-time high this offseason. Teams are beginning to come back together and practice as a team before training camp starts, and actual training camp is right around the corner. With the season so close to beginning, there are plenty of things to keep an eye on as fans, which brings us to the topic of today's video. Today, I will be discussing 5 major storylines that will be going on throughout the NBA season this year that we should keep an eye on, as they will be continually progressing as the season goes along, and some major moves could come as a result of a few of them. Before I get started though, make sure to subscribe to the channel, as all support is very much appreciated. I'm close to 10,000 subscribers, and I am truly grateful for all of you helping me grow significantly over the last few months. Now, with that being said, let's get into the video. The first storyline to pay close attention to throughout the year is one that sent the NBA world ablaze this summer and will continue to be a major story all year long, and that is DeMarcus Cousins joining the Golden State Warriors. Cousins, when healthy, is one of the best big men in the entire league and is capable of putting up monster numbers on a nightly basis. He's been good for averaging about 25 points and 12 rebounds per game for each of the last 3 years, and his 5.4 assists per game as a center is one of the most impressive parts of his game, as he sees the floor and creates for others better than almost all other bigs. The key words from all of what I just said, however, are when healthy. He tore his Achilles tendon last season, which ended his season and will likely cause him to miss at least half of this season as well. He's shown tremendous progress in his rehab, and videos have surfaced of him back on the court practicing and looking good shooting the ball and dunking the ball, but he is still months away from returning to full strength and getting back out on an NBA court. It's not like the Warriors will even necessarily miss him either in that span, as they did just sweep the NBA Finals on their way to winning a consecutive NBA title. With their level of dominance, they will more than likely be in cruise control throughout the regular season as well, so there will not be much pressure at all on DeMarcus Cousins to rush back to the court. The biggest question mark regarding this situation, though, is how Boogie will fit on the team. He's been known to be somewhat problematic in the locker room in the past. He has a short temper that leads to technical fouls in games, and he has yet to play a single playoff game in his 8-year career. The Warriors have developed all-time great chemistry playing together, and Cousins will have to prove that he can fit in instead of being the number 1 option. If he can, the Warriors might be the best team of all time. If he can't though, then he might derail the Warriors' hopes at a three-peat. Storyline number 2 to keep an eye on throughout the season is Carmelo Anthony's fit on the Houston Rockets. Melo has been declining rapidly as a player, and his ego is seemingly not willing to let him accept that about himself, as he continually dismisses the idea of playing the role of 6th man for a team. He insists that he is still a starter quality player, but he has a lot to prove after an ugly season on the Oklahoma City Thunder last year. In Oklahoma City, he had his least efficient season of his entire career, posting the worst field goal percentage and worst true shooting percentage of his career. Plus, out of every player that took at least 15 shots per game last season, Melo ranked dead last in field goal percentage and true shooting percentage in that group as well. To sum it all up, he took a ton of shots and was not making enough of them to justify the volume that he was receiving. There are many things you can look at as for why he struggled so mightily. You might blame him for taking bad shots in general. You can blame the coaching for not putting him in a better situation to score. You can even blame Russell Westbrook for not doing a good enough job incorporating him into the flow of the offense, and so on. He's now in a new situation, and depending on how it plays out, some interesting results will come of it. If he buys into the new Rockets scheme and succeeds, then you can look at Billy Donovan and Russell Westbrook and blame them for not helping him out, while James Harden, Chris Paul, and Mike D'Antoni found a way to make it work. If he continues to play awful, inefficient basketball, however, it will become even more clear than ever that it might be time for Melo to hang it up and just retire. Storyline number 3 to keep your eye on throughout the season is Kawhi Leonard playing up in Toronto for the season with the Raptors. This summer, The entire perception of Kawhi as both a player and a person has changed drastically. He was seen as a silent assassin that handled his business on the court and didn't have much of an ego at all leading up to this point. But that changed completely after him and his camp forced his way out of San Antonio. He's made it known that he wants to play in Los Angeles, whether it be for the Clippers or the Lakers, so the Raptors are going to have to do one hell of a lot to wow him this season if they want him to stay in Toronto for the considerable future. They traded away longtime Raptor great DeMar DeRozan to acquire him, and to see him leave after one season after doing that would possibly be disastrous. On top of all of that, Kawhi is coming back from a quad injury after playing only 9 games last season. The official status of his health is still a bit of a mystery, but recent reports have said that he looks great in workouts and is ready to get back out on the court this season. How good he'll look when he returns is another story. Will he be the Defensive Player of the Year winner and MVP candidate that he used to be, or will he be a somewhat lesser player that can't quite return to form? That, along with his looming free agency, are 2 major reasons to keep your eyes on Kawhi Leonard in Toronto this season. Storyline number 4 to keep your eyes on throughout the season is Jimmy Butler and his time left on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Butler has gained a reputation as someone who wants to win so badly that he expects nothing short of 100% effort and willingness to put in the work to become great from not only himself, but also his teammates. In his first season with the Timberwolves last year, he certainly lived up to his end of the bargain, but the 2 guys on his team that were supposed to elevate their game and help lead the team in Karl-Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins didn't do nearly as much. This summer, Butler has sent signals out to the public that he's grown frustrated with both of those teammates of his, believing that they don't work hard enough to improve themselves as players, and also don't give enough effort on the court to play winning basketball. When you look at their games, Butler honestly has a point. Wiggins had his worst season since his rookie year as a pro last year, and he hasn't made any strides at all on the defensive end of the floor. He lacks court awareness, can't stay in front of players, and his off-ball defense is probably the most troubling of all. Then, when you look at his offensive game, you realize that he's a heavy isolation player that lacks any kind of playmaking ability for anyone but himself, and he doesn't even score the ball efficiently. As I mentioned earlier, out of all the players that took at least 15 shots per game last season, Carmelo Anthony was the least efficient, but the second worst player on that list is Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins produces big numbers on losing teams, and when he's forced to be a third option on a winning team, he struggles. Now, Towns is similar to Wiggins in that he gets lost a lot on the defensive end of the floor. Despite his size and mobility, he doesn't pose as much of a rim-protecting threat at all. His offensive production is a lot more impressive than Wiggins, but he needs to make more of an effort on defense. Between both of these 2 players struggling mightily on the defensive end of the floor and their lackluster attitude towards improving on that end of the floor, Jimmy Butler has made it clear as day that he will not be returning to the Wolves when his contract expires. He's already declined a contract extension, so the Wolves might be looking to trade him before the trade deadline. Keep an eye on the Knicks as potential trade partners for Butler, and there are definitely more teams than that would be interested in acquiring Butler's services. Lastly, the final storyline to keep a watch on throughout the year is the development of Ben Simmons and his jump shot. Standing at 6'10", Simmons is the biggest matchup nightmare at the point guard position since Magic Johnson. He possesses all the physical tools to bully smaller guards and has the elite playmaking skills to excel as a lead guard, but his biggest weakness is his jump shooting. This problem affected him in a big way against the Celtics in the playoffs. In fact, on the entire season, he never even opted to shoot a single 3-point shot in a game, avoiding those shots entirely. The only ones that he did shoot were half-court heaves, and he obviously missed all of those, so he sits as a 0% 3-point shooter. If he wants to take his game to the next level and truly become one of the best players in the league, He will have to be willing to take and make threes every so often to keep defenses on their toes. If he succeeds at doing so and can shoot around 30% from deep on limited attempts, then the Sixers will become that much more dangerous, and they might even be able to compete with Boston and Toronto in the Eastern Conference. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, and comment down below any other storylines you're interested in watching throughout the year. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.